good evening and welcome to another edition of the Mancunian Candidates with myself, Paul Ripley, and
I'm Mike Royce, and we've had a few bits of feedback.
We have.
I'll throw
to start the show.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Because then, we can move forward, can't we, in a more positive vein. I'm just looking at Kev Catnip and his comment that, like the hair, Mike, bit of Newman with Eraserhead. At some point, I will get to start this show where someone said something nice about me. I'm not holding my breath at this stage. Lynn Bishop is saying, as with so many on the left, and she's commenting here on the Trump and the way that we've been dealing with him on the show lately. She says, as with so many on the left, we totally misrepresent the movement around Trump. It is about putting American citizens first. Trump is just the leader of the movement. Do you call those that supported Martin Luther King cult members? No, of course not. But it's far more dramatic to do so. This movement encompasses all Americans, no matter their race. It is a movement of the people for the people. Well, Lynn, he don't like black guys. And if you haven't figured that out yet, everything you've said there is all commendable if you're a moron and you want to believe that. And you're watching this show, and I'm hoping you're not a moron, but it sounds like you are, because if you think that Donald Trump views races equally, black, white, any race, you are completely wrong. I am. Capricorn 1970, he says, this is about the EU coverage we've been doing lately. What he describes about shipping equipment is standard for third countries when entering the EU. I am surprised they are surprised, and he's talking about when we're covering the music industry here. I'm surprised they are surprised. Some people mentioned all this and got told to shut up and stop with Project Fear. It's so sad. I love live music. Hope UK will negotiate an agreement with the EU for musicians, and so do we. But here's the big thing. We were told all of this was taken care of. All of us were told that this was taken care of. Yeah? That's just the way I see it, anyway.
If you do want to leave some comments, you can do. Just go on our YouTube channel if you're obviously watching on it now, maybe on Facebook, and just leave a comment on the post it there. Say something. Say hello.
Say something about my hair and the way I look. Yeah, because that seems to be the usual stuff.
You're quite happy about something that's happened this week, it seems to me.
I'm not happy about anything that's happened this week. I've had a miserable week. I have got a major infection on my teeth, and I'm trying to fight that. Well, you do, but it's a personal show, so I'm just saying I'm struggling tonight. And
do you want to go on about my cap in my teeth and my broken crown? Do you want to carry on?
Yeah, but that's sorted out. Mine's ongoing.
Yeah. It's not sorted out at all.
Is it not?
No. Can't get a dentist.
Oh, well, I could.
Yeah. Champagne Charlie's.
Yeah. Oh, well, fucking Jesus
Socialist,
Christ. Hey, this is the sort of crap that drives me mad, but I'm not going to rise to it. So, what am I happy about this week? I am actually sad that we lost Captain Sir Tom Moore. He was a nice guy, and he did something that was a positive news story during the last year that gave us all something to actually be proud of. So maybe we can look at what's been going on.
Outside the house in Bedfordshire, where Captain Tom had so often taken centre stage, his family took his place. A simple gesture celebrating the life and achievements of their father and grandfather, a man they'd done so much to support.
I invite members to now join me for a minute's silence to commemorate Sir Tom's life and to pay our respects to those who have lost their lives as a result of the COVID and their families and friends.
Earlier in the day, Parliament had fallen silent. the Prime Minister inviting the country to pay their respects.
He inspired the very best in us all, and his legacy will continue to do so for generations to come. I encourage everyone to join in a national clap for Captain Tom and all those health workers for whom he raised money at 6 p.m. this evening.
Echoing the idea of last year's clap for carers, Boris Johnson and his fiancée Carrie started the applause. An enormous billboard lit up Piccadilly Circus as the leader of the opposition, Keir Starmer, also paid his respects. Outside the hospital in Bedford, where Captain Tom spent his final days, staff took a brief break to remember him, recognising the lasting impact of the £33 million that he raised for the NHS through his sponsored walk. In Harrogate, where last summer he'd inspected junior soldiers as their honorary colonel, they joined the tribute to this Yorkshire military man.
Let's hear it for Captain Sir Tom Moore.
Station staff at Paddington Station and Premier League footballers also took time to pause. Captain Tom wouldn't have expected the fanfare, wouldn't have seen himself as more important than the thousands of others who've also lost their lives to COVID. A humble man who did inspire, and for many will forever be a hero of our time. Rhiannon Mills, Sky News.
Hero of our time. And that's how you see it, Mike.
No, I just think he tried to help people.
Well, absolutely. It is. I mean,
so what are you going to do now? Are you going to stick the boot in on this old guy?
I think people around him, though, not so. I mean, he went to Jamaica, and I don't understand why he went to Jamaica. And apparently he had pneumonia, then he got COVID, and that doesn't make sense to me either.
He went to Jamaica because he didn't... the people around him felt, well, take him somewhere nice in winter. Wouldn't you do that if you had the access to do it? No, not Blackpool. No. He's 100 years old.
Exactly.
He's 100 years old. So what are you talking about?
A safe place to take him would be somewhere different.
God, you're an idiot. To say that, you're an idiot.
I'm just saying,
to say that.
A safe place would be somewhere different.
Really?
Yeah, of course.
You really think that he didn't deserve a trip
your
there?
100-year-old granddad to somewhere where...
I would, yeah.
Well,
I would, because it might be the last chance you get to go, because they've not got many years left.
And Boris saying clap, and I agree with everything about him, but what he's done is amazing, and what he's done for the NHS, which is underfunded, and why somebody has to do that is another story. But, you know, Black Lives Matter, I won't take the knee. I don't believe in these trivial type words he used.
Wow, you're actually attacking him.
I'm attacking people around him, Boris Johnson.
Well, he's not a person around him. He don't know him.
Well,
he's not lived with him. He's not took any time to get involved in the guy's life. So why are you having a go at him, this old guy?
People around him are people who don't fund the NHS in the proper way, and have not done for many, many years.
So are you saying, Captain, that this guy, Tom Moore, has not given to... He's not given to the NHS?
Oh, he has, yeah.
Yeah, well, what's your problem
then? Government.
Well, what are you talking about
Do you not
then?
listen?
No, yeah, I'm listening. Yeah, I'm listening to a load of drivel and nonsense.
Whatever you think.
Yeah, bibble. That's what I'm hearing, you know.
Get your hair cut.
Yeah. Know what to say to that. Right, we've got a little piece that we need to do on a guy that has decided in the middle of the pandemic to make his mark. He's decided to do what he needs to do as a businessman. He's known as Mr. West End, and his name is Asif Aziz, or as I prefer to call him, as if anyone could be this big a cunt. Yeah. And he has decided that despite all of the views and all of the moratoriums on rents and going to court and enforcement, that he should go to the High Court and try to get people removed from their properties. I don't know if you've shown his image yet, but let's show him again. This is Mr. Asif Aziz, and he is the head of Criterion Capital and his sub-company Criterion Asset Management. And they have been attacking companies in London that are not paying the rent. And I'm just going to say now, this is a personal problem for me, because he was the landlord of a property that I had in Manchester, the Tiger Lounge on Cooper Street, and the law says that when the rent becomes due at the end of the quarter, you have 14 days to pay, and then you can take legal action. He ignored that law, and every single month that we were operating that venue, he would turn up with our representative, because he's somewhere else sipping a pina colada, you know. He would his representatives would turn up at your venue and demand the rent paid in cash in full on the day it was due. And you had 14 days before that was even legal to do that. So he basically started to employ bailiffs as debt collectors, which was illegal. And he did it. And he did it to us to the point where we started paying our rent 2 weeks early, 2 weeks before even the end of the quarter that it was due, just so that legally he couldn't do this. Now, he knew that if he sent these bailiffs in, that you couldn't afford to take legal action. You couldn't afford to fight back against this. So he's done this. Now, over the last 2 weeks, he's gone against 5 guys. He's tried to close their venues down in London. He's gone against the Trocadero. And you may think all these companies they sound big brands, they'll be all right. Yeah, but they employ people. They employ the little guy. And he's spent literally the last month attacking and having a go at all these places in London and coffee shops and places that you probably got not much sympathy for, but they employ a huge amount of people. Yeah.
It's not just about that, though, is it? I mean, what type of person would be to be pushing it to this level?
Yeah.
We're living in a society where, there's us and them are just pushing it to the limit where you should stretch him. I know you've had a personal time and problems with him, but besides yourself, and it, like you say, including the big companies, it's wrong, isn't it?
No,
why should someone like that?
No, he's that guy. That is this person. He is that guy. I mean, there's no other way of looking at this. I mean, the guy could be nice at a time like this. He could realise that his tenants are going through a difficult time, and they've been paying him for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and maybe if you let him off the rent for a year and maybe have the rent onto the end of the lease, that you'll still get paid, you'll be in a good position, and that's it. But this guy, he wants to put the pressure on all the time. He is the worst landlord, and Asif Aziz is his name. We've shown his picture a few times, and he is the worst guy in the United Kingdom.
And I thoroughly back that as well. We may have argued about some things, but my goodness, us and them, and the greed. And this was wrong. We'll turn into an American 51st state where it's just greed counts only. What about support for people?
Yeah. He's a disgrace.
It's unbelievable. We shall move on, and we've got a little section here. And if you are disturbed by graphic images, which Mike was actually, please turn off. Turn off, simple as that. Because we want to talk about, I thought about it the other day. What happens later this year, another COVID-23 comes out, and we can't protect about it. And the different strains we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks. What if a new one came along? Do we have to go through this again? Because if so, I don't know any companies that will survive, or people who would think, I've had enough. I've had enough. I'll start believing in the conspiracy world. So, where did it come from? So, I'm going to show a clip now at first about the idea of it supposed to come from the laboratory. CNN covered this.
A caravan of vehicles pulling into the Wuhan Institute of Virology. On board, international experts representing the World Health Organization. Their mission? To find the origin of COVID-19.
What we're trying to do right now at this stage is keep an open mind about every possibility.
CNN connected with zoologist Peter Daszak. He's part of the source tracing assignment here in China. Speaking to us from his hotel room in Wuhan, he had just visited the Virology Institute's highly secured and highly controversial lab. It is from here that former U.S. President Donald Trump and his Secretary of State Mike Pompeo have alleged without any evidence the virus originated.
I think they made a horrible mistake, and they didn't want to admit it.
China has rejected the claim.
So it was good to see the lab, and you know, you confirmed your suspicions that it's an incredibly well built, well designed, well managed lab.
Seeing evidence that this likely came from the Wuhan Institute of Virology.
The Trump administration provided no evidence to support those claims.
Do you think it's possible this virus was engineered within that lab and leaked?
There's no evidence of that at all. But it is something that we talked about with people at the Wuhan lab and got really honest and frank and good, informative answers to. Because they themselves brought this up. Conspiracies around lab leaks that they feel strongly have no grounds.
Swarmed by media throughout their site visits, the WHO field team also inspected the hospitals where the early COVID-19 patients were treated, along with the now infamous Huanan seafood market.
This place had a lot of attention over the past 12 months paid to it. There was a lot of concern that perhaps the virus was still festering in spots, so the Chinese authorities essentially wiped it clean.
Dashak and other experts agree it is most likely that the virus originated from wildlife. Though, without ruling it out, he stops short of concluding it started in the market or even in Wuhan. CNN obtained these images from December 2019. They show a variety of caged creatures inside the now shuttered seafood market.
We're still piecing together the evidence. So we're looking at the animal evidence. You know, what was sold in the market? Where did it come from? What types of animals are they? The ones that could carry coronaviruses?
So there's a story. What Trump said initially is wrong and looked into it. But the issue is, it's not just China. South Asia in general have these wet markets. And this is where it comes disturbing to a level, which we put a warning on this film before it goes out. And I want to continue this little clip, really. So this is what's going on now.
Something's going to happen at some point. The only question is when. It's a perfect storm, really.
The next one could be COVID-20 or 21.
SARS, MERS, Ebola, 3 killer diseases that jumped from animals to humans.
I would say that the possibility is extremely high that the next infectious disease of humans that comes is going to come from animals, probably wildlife.
Most scientists agree COVID-19 probably originated in wildlife. So how do we stop it happening again and save lives in the future? In Vietnam's Mekong Delta, rats are a cheap and popular snack. While some wet markets just sell vegetables and meat, many worldwide kill and clean animals to order. Elsewhere, different types of birds, some wild, slaughtered and cooked while the customer waits. They say the meat is fresh. Some argue it's kinder than battery farming.
Bữa giờ đi chợ có sợ cúm Vũ Hán không? Sợ thì sợ nhưng mà cái này là của thiên nhiên mà. Yeah.
Since the news broke that coronavirus may have spread from an animal market in Wuhan, the wildlife trade has been back in the spotlight. But even as we fight one pandemic, it's feared we're opening the door to the next. In Indonesia's northern Sulawesi province, despite the pandemic, our crews film bushmeat still for sale. Most of the animals at these markets are already dead. There's charred dog, barbecued bats, and snakes.
Kalau banyak memang susah sulit dan balak karena orang masih takut kan ada isu-isu dari pertama tuh corona itu dari kelelawar, jadi orang lain masih takut-takut.
A cauldron of different species in filthy conditions.
That environment is very high risk, very high risk. They're not wearing gloves, they're not wearing masks, they're not wearing overalls. All of these different things coming together, live animals, dead animals, pieces of animals, humans. The conditions are absolutely perfect for viruses. It just needs a number of different factors to come together at the right time, and you end up with a pandemic.
Officials at Langwan said they'd investigate what we found, and selling live animals has been banned since the COVID-19 outbreak. There are no plans to close Tomahon Market, but roadblocks are being set up to stop wildlife coming in for food, and people are being advised not to eat it.
The World Health Organization estimates that 60% of all infectious diseases in humans come from animals, and COVID-19 has already killed hundreds of thousands of people. Animal welfare campaigners say the message is clear. Wildlife trading must be totally banned to prevent another pandemic.
I just want to say, if you're Chinese and you're okay with this, if you're anyone over in Asia and you're okay with this, you're an animal. You are worse than these creatures that you are subjecting to torture and death like this. You're an animal if you're okay with this.
I think it's obviously horrendous, and that's why we talked about it. But it just shows you where another virus can come from, and probably will come from.
It will come from. It will come from that. Of course it will.
You've got to look at
of course it will.
People's culture.
They're eating stalks. They're eating stalks. What is that all about? They're eating stalks, and that's a gateway drug, by the way. I mean, next minute you're eating a heron.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, Mike. Do you ever go to an Indian restaurant or a takeaway?
Yes.
Yeah, you'll have halal meat, which is another story, but that's okay with you. So have an animal slit its throat and the blood drain out.
I wasn't involved.
So why aren't you shouting that loud about
the process? I'm not saying any of it's wrong. I was a vegetarian for a long time before.
But you're not now.
I'm not now.
So why aren't you saying the same things about that culture, which you just mentioned about?
Oh, get off your high horse! Right, this is a different level of being a bellend.
Cruelty.
No, this is just summer.
It's
hideous.
Horrendous.
It's
but
hideous.
It's a way.
Like I say,
rats for a snack. I mean, but if you're starving, I don't know.
I mean,
cheap things, I don't know.
I can't get my head round it. Right.
But
at the end
you've
of
been
the
brought
day,
up in the Western culture, and that's all you know.
Oh, don't give me this. Listen.
Did you ever live in Africa like me?
Give me a break, right? Is that really your defence of this? You're a joke if you're saying that.
Because the culture is different, man.
It's not a different culture. You're talking about here. You're talking about people that are eating stalks on sticks. You know, these are fucking weird people if they're eating stalks on sticks.
So
this
you're
is ridiculous.
For a cow to come along, have its throat slit, and then some of the farming procedures in America
I'm not happy with any of that.
The farming procedures of chickens in America is horrendous. It's not worse than that.
This takes it to another level. A scary, horrific level where they're eating bats there. Yes. They're eating bats, and then and you've got there's one video I've seen of late where someone's complaining, "Oh my God, we're struggling. There's not enough bats around."
So how do you stop?
People are scared of eating bats.
How do you stop this?
How do you stop it? You've got to educate people and go, stop eating dogs for starters. Yeah, let's stop eating stalks. Let's stop eating all these weird things. No, I get it. Years ago, things were tough, right? And if you got a dead animal, you would just go for the meat, and then you go, right, let's get the trotters, let's get the eyelids, let's get everything, because things were bad. We've got pot noodles now. We've got pot noodles. Get a pot noodle. Get a pot noodle.
But you're still not answering the question about.
There isn't a question, really.
I mean, you've got to understand why people turn vegetarian for that reason alone.
Oh my God! This isn't even about that. This is about there is no need.
You can't just say
there's no need to be eating this stuff. Eating bats. Why are you eating bats? It doesn't even make sense.
Why
it doesn't make sense to be eating a bat.
Why do people take rhino horn as for some medical
Well,
reason?
there's another show. I could do a whole show on that.
Carries on, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know.
So how do you change that culture? It's like you shouting and
educate
bawling.
them. Educate them and no, I don't think I know better, but I think that it's time.
Western world with
me in my Western world bullshit. Listen, they need to stop eating bats, storks. That's weird, man. That's weird. If you go, what are we having for tea? I'm having a stork.
What about grouse?
Listen, I don't have that either. I don't have that. You know.
You don't.
I don't.
But it's not about you, is it, Mike?
No, it's not about me. It's about, stop eating shit you shouldn't be eating.
Well, turkey twizzles.
There's something wrong with you, you know.
No,
really, there is something wrong with you.
You don't understand the point, do you? Turkey twizzles just brought off the kids' menus.
Go on then. Tell us about turkey fucking twizzles.
No protein, just the byproduct.
And that's the problem.
Turkey.
No protein.
Well, they're feeding kids with it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, get them on stalks. Get them on the stalks.
If you've got a view on this, please go on our YouTube channel or email us and let us know what's your thoughts on it. What's the answer, though? Ignore Mike. What's the answer to this problem? Because we are going down this road, which we will have a COVID, like the professor said, 19, 20, 21, 22. When will it end? Your thoughts, please.
Some stuff's happened on the financial markets that was unexpected. And weirdly enough, I'm going to go to Newsmax and the Malkster, Michelle Malkin, to give an explanation of the financial difficulties that have occurred during the last week.
The Reddit revolt. It's been a rough year so far for the populist movement. Free speech is not free. Free and fair elections are neither free nor fair. And the free market has been rigged to enrich the politically powerful and connected in Silicon Valley and on Wall Street, while middle Americans have suffered economically, emotionally, and mentally through endless riots and lockdowns. But this week brought a ray of sunshine, a jolt of lightning, actually, from ordinary citizens who upended the financial markets. As you've all heard all week long here on Newsmax and across social media, amateur investors on a Reddit forum called Wall Street Bets banded together to drive up the stock price of an ailing video game retailer called GameStop. The stock soared nearly 2,000%. Wall Street panic. Big tech, big business, and big government all immediately moved to crush the Reddit revolt. Woke investing apps like Robinhood served the oligarchs instead of the people by restricting the little guy's trading activity. In a tweet, Robinhood company officials gravely announced, "In light of current market volatility, we are restricting transactions for certain securities to position closing only." In other words, they let people sell the stocks but not buy them. Why are all the bigs so afraid? It's because young Generation Z and millennial keyboard warriors in their basements with names like, yes, Roaring Kitty, succeeded in doing what thousands of violent, smelly Occupy Wall Street rioters failed to do a decade ago. In a breathtaking act of collective bluff calling, the internet investors brought hedge fund managers to their knees and literally made billionaires weep.
I mean, I think it's kind of obvious people can not only see the emotion on your face, but hear it in your voice when you talk about this, Lee. Why?
I care. That's it.
Uh-oh, spare us the crocodile tears. This same bad actor, billionaire hedge fund manager Lee Cooperman of something called Omega Advisors, could barely hide his contempt for the hoi polloi, threatening his protected elitist bubble. Watch this.
Doing is people are sitting at home getting the checks from the government, okay, and this fair share is a concept. It's just a way of attacking wealthy people. And, I think it's inappropriate. We all got to work together and pull together.
Fact check for these foul-mouthed fat cats. Americans aren't sitting in the lap of luxury like they are. And they're not just collecting welfare checks at home because they're lazy. Never forget that hundreds of millions of hard-working workers were forced to stay at home. Forced. Countless small business owners were forced to shut down under penalty of law. COVID control freaks deprived our best and brightest of the ability to earn an honest living. Massive and ongoing pandemic infringements on our freedoms to live and work and play and learn lined the pockets of the nation's wealthiest CEOs. Just this week, a new report by the Institute for Policy Studies found that the collective wealth of America's 660 billionaires rose 39% since COVID-19 was declared a pandemic virus in March 2020. Jeff Bezos of Amazon, Elon Musk at Tesla, Microsoft's Bill Gates, Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg, and Berkshire Hathaway's Warren Buffett all led this privileged cabal of pandemic profiteers who have collectively amassed more than $1.1 trillion. The masters of the universe don't deserve a pity party, and neither do the professional pushers around of profits. Plain and simple, institutional wealth managers done got outplayed. It's not personal, it's business, baby. But look at the ashen-faced financial journalists who carry water for the billionaires. Now they're worried about motives.
Real questions, of course, about stock manipulation, about the power of what's taking place on places like Reddit, really what's motivating this type of trading behavior at all. It clearly has nothing to do with the fundamentals of GameStop itself anymore, and much more to do with sort of pop psychology of who's going to be left holding the bag.
You know what the silver lining in all of this is? It's that finally the illusion of the free market has been fatally pierced.
Well, there you go.
What's with you?
I agree with her. And
you agree with Newsmax?
I agree with her, and I where can I go to get fixed? Is there a place I can go and get sorted out? Because I agree with her.
Can I just add to this conversation, by the way?
Yes.
During the last 12 months, all I've known from you is talking about your stocks and shares and investing here and doing there, and a bit of Bitcoin and mining,
crypto,
cryptocurrency, and it's been just your focus, I would say. and
got to protect the company.
Is now against you. Protect the company.
Got to
and
protect
get richer
the company,
and richer.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know about that.
Us and them.
Well, it's what you do with it, though. I mean, just because you know how to buy and sell and make money on the markets, it depends what you do with it. If you buy yourself a private island and enrich yourself and become an arsehole, that's fine. Whereas you've watched me use what I've made during this period to protect some of the people that we needed to keep on board and make sure that our lives didn't disintegrate.
They're stopping the smaller people down this food chain from being able to do that.
Oh, look, I mean, they have done a lot more good with this move. These guys originated from the Wall Street Bets Reddit group, and they were pumping up ideas of which cryptocurrency to support, whatever. Years and years ago, full disclosure, I got involved in Dogecoin, which is the one with the Shih Tzu dog on the coin, and I was making money from that, and I put that money away and used it to fund projects and stuff, and that's it. These guys are actually on the right side of history. I mean, they've looked at when COVID hit, a lot of companies bought shorts, meaning that they bought contracts that these companies like AMC, Nokia, and the GameStop shop would go bump, and they would get paid a fortune if that happened. And these guys went, well, they've done that. We're going to just buy shares all of us. So they use the Robinhood app, which is an app that doesn't have this minimum amount where you can only purchase a minimum of 50 shares or whatever. It allows you to buy with, if you've got $1,000 or $2,000, you can still start to buy and sell shares. It's trying to democratise the process. And then suddenly when this happened, they started to buy GameStop and it went through the roof. It went from a few dollars to $300. And then suddenly Robinhood and lots of other brokers, by the way, not just them, suddenly went, oh, we're not taking purchase orders on these stocks now. So you go, okay, so you're happy to take, this is a situation where you look at it like a bookie, they're suddenly going, well, we're losing the bets now, so we're not taking bets anymore. So everybody kicked off about that. Now, what these guys have done, I just want to give you a little bit of more information so you can make your mind up on whether or not you're on their side or not. The Wall Street Bets guys attacked the next target was AMC after GameStop, and they went with AMC, and they pushed that price up to the point where the company made more money. Bear in mind, they're running the cinema chains all across America into Europe. They were a massive concern, and they were up for a $300 billion payment on a loan that they couldn't match. And they did this the week before. And not only did they make the loan payment, they've given them the profits on 10 years of successful trading overnight. So suddenly HBO Max and all these companies that were going, we're going to stream films, we don't need the cinema anymore. Suddenly this cinema chain is one of the wealthiest companies on planet Earth, and they can do whatever the hell they want. They can remain shut now until next year and reopen, and there's no problem. But the beautiful thing that they did was they set up a Bitcoin fund for all the employees of AMC Cinema. All them people sweeping up your popcorn when you've been there being a bellend and dropping it all over the floor. Yeah, they've set up a Bitcoin fund, and all these people have been paid a wage because of these mavericks that have done this.
I'm a bit lost still with it all. I don't quite understand how Newsmax will be there supporting the little guy, going against the big guy. So what's Donald Trump got to say about that? And I'm also lost really on the us and them again. You know, how can companies like, well, he's just resigned, onto Bezos. Step down. The CEO.
Step down.
As the richest man in the world now. It's us and them, and it's the ruination of the Western world, I think. The divide is getting bigger and bigger. The normal person in a normal job compared to these type of people is just horrendous, and it's getting. We ignore it here in this country, but people like the Landlord we talked about before, etc., are just getting richer and richer, and we are just, I don't know, it's another world for me.
Well,
I don't get it. I don't want to get it, and I think you're guilty of sin as well. But that's another story.
And what have I done?
Well, I think
just curious.
I think there's something about how we do business in this world.
I run this company as a socialist enterprise, as you well know. I give away stuff I don't need to. I don't take the money that enterprise? I could do. What do you do? What are you supposed to do when you're running a company? I'm trying to do Che Guevara, but with responsibilities. You know, that's how I've run it.
On that note, let's see some comments that come in.
Right, Stephen Blackmore is saying Elton John was on news last night talking about the state of UK bands and musicians regarding touring the EU with all crazy costs you and Paul talked about the other week. Yeah. So that's it. Nick is saying, what did you think about Dido Harding at the Commons Select Committee hearing, with the consultants being paid £1,100 per day?
Exactly what we're talking about before, us and them.
And Mark is saying what Captain Tom did for the NHS and what did that guy that you were having a go at earlier.
I didn't have a go at him.
He says what he did for the NHS and what the government didn't do are two separate issues.
Exactly.
Tom will be regarded as a hero. The government won't. And
That's
maybe
my
you
point.
need to have
That's my
a
point.
think about that.
And obviously you couldn't take it on board.
Yeah, no, he did. Mark's got his head screwed on.
Yeah,
you want to
because
attack
he
the old
heard
guy,
he
you know.
heard what I was saying. Let's carry on.
I don't think
Anymore.
he took his inspiration from you whatsoever. But there you go. And he's also saying that Judge Dredd loved a rat burger. And that shows how bad this is, because that was supposed to be a dystopian future where, I'm having a rat burger as a delicacy because things are that bad. It's the best thing I could get my hands on, and we're here, apparently. Nick is saying $40 was the average investment via Robinhood, which is true. That's what I said. It democratised it. And he also says Newsmax is just going for the elites meme.
Yeah.
It's absolutely true, that as well.
Yeah.
And it's playing its normal divisive game.
Yeah. Divide and conquer, and that's how Trump did it. Divide and conquer, and that's the way most people do it.
Well,
divide and conquer.
Newsmax have been carrying on a very similar diatribe to Trump, and they've been going on about election fraud and going mad about it, covering it left, right and centre until they got a writ. When they got a writ, like Rudy Giuliani and other people we'll talk about after we've seen the video we're going to see, they suddenly got a memo from above their financial bosses and the solicitors that said, you can't let people mention election fraud now. We're not in favour of it now because we're going to get sued. So Newsmax clearly invited on the My Pillow guy who hadn't been shared in the memo.
So what happened? What happened with your Twitter account and the company page?
Well, first mine was taken down because we have all the election fraud with these Dominion machines. We have 100% proof. And then when they took it down about 3 weeks ago, and then when I put it back up, my personal, it was a
Mike,
thing about my
thank you very much. Mike, you're talking about machines that we at Newsmax have not been able to verify any of those kinds of allegations. We just want to let people know that there's nothing substantive that we've seen. And let me read you something there. While there were some clear evidence of some cases of vote fraud and election irregularities, the election results in every state were certified, and Newsmax accepts the results as legal and final. The courts have also supported that view. So we wanted to talk to you about canceling culture, if you will. We don't want to relitigate the allegations that you're making, Mike, because we understand where you are. So let me ask you this. Do you think that this should be temporary because it appears to be permanent? Could you make an argument that it is temporary?
What?
Could you make an argument that this could be a temporary banning rather than permanent?
No, I want it to be a permanent because you know what? They did this because I'm revealing all the evidence on Friday of all the election fraud with these machines. So I'm sorry if you think it's not
Mike,
it's real.
Can I ask our producers, can we get out of here, please? I don't want to have to keep going over this.
Actually,
we at Newsmax have not been able to verify any of those allegations that you're
Mike, hold on a second. Everybody hold on a second. Mike, hold on 1 second. Let's talk a little bit about just what is happening overall in terms of censorship of...
Trying to cancel out my company and myself in this country. It's cancel culture.
What can you say
that
to
was
that?
Amazing.
Absolutely amazing. I love
amazing.
this because we're doing a similar sort of show, and they cut to the two screens there where the other presenter had done one because he wanted to get upstairs and go, he's gone mad, it's nothing to do with me, you know. And the other, they cut they were wanting to cut to the My Pillow guy and the female presenter, and they went and cut to her in an empty chair. Did you see that?
But it's so good, wasn't it? Newsmax going scared stiff.
Terrified. Yeah. And this is the thing. If you are a Newsmax person and you're watching this show and you love the right wing, you've got to admit that was so weak, wasn't it? Eh?
But the big news tonight.
So weak.
The big news tonight is they are also after
Fox News.
Fox News.
They've gone and slapped them with a writ, and do you know what? Newsmax were terrified of getting the writ that Fox News got tonight, and Newsmax has backed off to the point where they've gone, oh, we'll leave him alone.
I'll leave him. I'm off.
Yeah, but oh, that was unbelievable. That wasn't it? I mean, this is the problem with modern technology, by the way, because normally he'd be trailing a mic lead, wouldn't he? He'd be unhooking it all this wireless app. Technology is no good. It's not as dramatic, is it?
But 2.7 billion, Rudy and Fox.
Yeah, they're absolutely knackered. I'll say this: Rudy will not be able to get the money. Fox News will probably offer $1.5 million to settle it, and it's done. Rudy is in a load of trouble, and all he's done is follow his mate into the fire. And I mean follow him into the massive forest fire that's burning his ass right now. I mean, this is the problem with election fraud. No. There was no evidence. They thought, because until this point, Trump, his shtick was, say whatever you want, keep saying it, and then people will believe it at some point.
Here's my question. One of the candidates, correspondents in Alaska, is a Fox News correspondent.
Yeah.
He's on the show, has been on the show many, many times, Tom Anderson. We love him to bits, even though his politics are rubbish. But he was due to come on tonight, and suddenly he's not. He's too busy, he's too overwhelmed, blah, 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 things going on. Are Fox News people concerned, do you think?
Well, looking at their I'm hoping to speak to Tom next week, and we'll ask him in person, eh? Let's give him the benefit of the doubt, because I think that they're chewing over what's happened tonight, and then by next week we'll be in a different place, won't we?
Who knows?
So we've also got a big situation going on in America. I know I wanted to cover more UK stuff, but America is the gift that keeps on giving. The QAnon people managed to get in power. They got 2 people in office. And you've had a massive battle for the future of the right wing in politics in America, with people wanting to get rid of Marjorie Taylor Greene because of all her comments, and the Republican Party sort of wanting to get rid of her, and the other half not wanting to get rid of her.
But Trump supports her.
Correct.
He's still there in the background, puppet master.
And you've had a battle. So I thought, in case you weren't aware, I thought it'd be great to have a look at Marjorie Taylor Greene's greatest hits.
Why are you supporting red flag gun laws that attack our Second Amendment rights? There is an Islamic invasion into our government offices right now. And why are you using kids to get as a barrier? Do you not know how to defend your stance?
Here is an enabler of domestic terrorism.
He's got nothing to say. Sad. The generations of Black and Hispanic men, do you want to know what holds them down? Gangs. He has nothing to say because he's paid to do this. Guess what? I'm a gun owner.
A white supremacist.
Being in gangs and dealing drugs is what holds them down.
I remember thinking, I'm just going to keep a straight face and practice my mindfulness meditation that I've often done to help cope with my PTSD. And, my ADHD as well.
The lack of education is what holds them down. You saw after midterm elections, we saw so many Muslims elected.
And a belligerent conspiracy theorist, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
There's your wall money right there, everybody. I mean, this is it's so stupid simple. It's not even funny. It's stupid simple. But we have retards. I'm sorry. I know that's an offensive word. And I'm not trying to talk down on people with Down syndrome, but that's what these people are. These people are so stupid and ignorant, they cannot put something common sense in place, like spending the $14 billion of El Chapo drug money to build our wall. It's nonsense. See, that's how stupid these people are that we have elected. And why do we have them? They're losers. They couldn't make it in real life if they tried. I'm not lying to you. These people are criminals. If we have a sea of people, if we shut down the streets, if we shut down everything, if we flood the Capitol building, flood all the government buildings, go inside. These are public buildings. We own them. We own these buildings. Do you understand that? We own the buildings and we pay all the people that work in the buildings.
Flood the Capitol, flood the government buildings. We own the buildings. Sounds now so sinister, right? 2019, that was said, and now here we are. We see what that can bring.
The so-called plane that crashed into the Pentagon. It's odd, there's never any evidence shown for a plane. Kennedy getting killed in the plane crash. That's another one of those Clinton murders, right?
School zones were protected with security guards with guns. There would be no mass shootings at schools.
Harassing Hogg weeks after the most traumatic events of his life. You know, it's sort of like this piece of white trash wearing a censored mask while delivering her remarks to contest the 2020 presidential election results while being broadcast on every major network in the country. You see, Green is a flat-out nut job. She supported the insurrection and their baseless conspiracy theories. In 2019, Green, as kooky as they come, praised the idea of executing members of Congress, including House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. They want unity. Try terminating a threat like this from holding public office. The domestic terrorist in chief even called her a future star. Go figure. Here's Green posing with white militia terrorist group, the 3%ers, throwing up the white power sign.
We had that woman out of Minnesota. Now she's going into Congress and she's got to wear a head covering. You know, they want to put their hand on the Quran and be sworn in. No, you have to be sworn in on the Bible.
This is how unapologetically uneducated these racists are when their hoods are off. Remember this guy right here? His name is Ted Crockett. He was Roy Moore's campaign spokesperson. Remember the meme everyone used of him? Here's the original video, akin to Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Judge Moore has also said that he doesn't think a Muslim member of Congress should be allowed to be in Congress.
You have to swear on a Bible to be an elected official in the United States of America.
You don't actually have to swear on a Christian Bible. You can swear on anything, really. I don't know if you knew that. You can swear on a Jewish Bible.
Oh, no, I swore on the Bible. I've done it 3 times.
I'm sure you have. I'm sure you've picked a Bible, but the law is not that you have to swear on a Christian Bible. That is not the law. You don't know that?
I don't know what to say. I mean, that says it all. There's nothing much to say. I mean, the Republican Party were deciding what to do with her over the last couple of days, and last night the heads of the Republican Party decided not to remove her from school committees. School committees and other committees she'd been put on. They weren't even kicking her out of Congress. They were just deciding, shall we not have her as an expert on schools on a committee? Bearing in mind what she just did to David Hogg, the survivor who watched all his schoolmates be massacred and then hunted him down like that. And they didn't do anything. And it looks like the Democrats are going to have to take action unilaterally to get rid of her. But wouldn't you want her gone?
How scary is it that who would vote for her?
She brings a lot of money in. She brings a lot of money in. I mean, she has got all these redneck people voting for her. All the gun squad, the God squad, the whole lot. They think she's brilliant and they are bringing money in. So they were at a meeting last night and I know for a fact that they were thinking about the money. It's like, this is going to cut off a lot of funds from nutters that will not give money to the Republican Party.
The US of A, is it over with?
Well, that's a damn good question. If you think we're coming to the end of the show now, and if you think that you have seen it all, I think that people in the UK have probably not seen an advert that was put out and put together by Lauren Bobbert.
I just want to say thank you to everybody who's subscribed and thank you to people who shared it around as well. we're doing our best here on a very limited budget.
Indeed.
In lockdown to try and create something. Politics for for me and for Mike and for you.
Yeah.
And we
break it down.
We need your input as well, as much input as possible. But
obviously, anyway, it's a crazy amount of people that have been watching the show, and we can't believe it. So thank you very much.
Is it 175,000 people?
It's close to 190 now.
190.
We're heading to 250,000. What's going on? There's nothing better to do. Seriously.
2 months, eh? But we decided that we'd try and finish the show every week on something uplifting or funny.
Yes.
So Mike chose this.
Yeah, I think you need to see a video that was put out by Lauren Boebert. Now, she's the other QAnon person that's been elected to the House of Congress, and she was getting a lot of grief over gun control, Second Amendment rights and that, so she decided to make her position clear. Now, we're probably going to leave the show on this, aren't we? So thank you for listening this week, and here's Lauren Boebert making herself clear.
I'm Lauren Boebert, and I approve this message.
Cut. That's a wrap.
Hi, I'm Lauren. I'm a newly elected congresswoman from Colorado. Even though I now work in one of the most liberal cities in America, I refuse to give up my rights, especially my Second Amendment rights. I will carry my firearm in D.C. and in Congress. This caused outrage from Democrats and the media. Why? It's our job in Congress to defend your rights, including your Second Amendment, and that's exactly what I'm here to do. In D.C., of all places, we should be encouraged to practice our rights. So forget what you hear in the fake news. Here are the real reasons why I choose to defend myself in our nation's capital. I am a woman and a mother of 4. I choose to defend my family with all of the force the Constitution provides. D.C. is one of the top 10 most dangerous cities in our country. Homicide rates and violent crimes are skyrocketing here. Being a member of Congress is pretty basic. I don't go to work in a motorcade or armored car. I don't get police escorts everywhere I go. I walk to my office every morning by myself. So as a 5-foot-tall, 100-pound woman, I choose to protect myself legally because I am my best security. One of the challenges of working in D.C. is people here don't understand how we live in real America. The Second Amendment is part of our lives. Gun ownership is cherished, and it makes our little town safer. As a young woman working late nights at a restaurant, I learned real fast how important it is to defend myself. After a violent incident outside my business, I took advantage of Colorado's open carry laws and began to carry at work. My waitresses asked if they could open carry too. And now Shooter's Grill has mandatory firearm training and target practice available for my staff, most of whom are young women. Educated, law-abiding gun owners are the safest people in America to be around. So when anyone comes in to limit the rights and safety of my family, I'll tell them exactly what this mom thinks. I am here to say, hell no, you're not. I have 4 children, I'm 5'0", 100 pounds, cannot really defend myself with a fist. So all you're going to do is restrict law-abiding citizens like myself. So this is why I choose to defend myself and my family. Not only is it my right, but it's a right I was sent here to protect from Rifle, Colorado. So if you see me in D.C., say hi. You're safe with me.
Thank you for watching. I'm impressed. You've passed the IQ test and got this far, so let's press that button to do the last thing that helps us. It's got subscribe on it, you can't miss it, and please ring the bell for notifications of future videos.